Hello YouTube, how's everyone doing? It's Professional here. So today I have an unfortunate video for you guys. I have a video talking about Article 13 passing. Yes, the law passed. If you're unfamiliar, I made a video a few weeks ago talking about why Article 13 needs to be stopped. This is a law that was passed in the European Union Parliament, and what this law basically does, for people that don't know, is it makes copyright rules a lot more strict. And how copyright rules basically work right now, let's say for YouTube. How they work is if somebody posts copyrighted material on YouTube, let's say a full song, or they post even a full movie, what happens is YouTube is not held responsible for that. The creator, the person who uploaded that stuff, is held responsible. YouTube still takes the stuff down, but YouTube is generally not held responsible for what people post. And it makes sense, you know, there's so many people on YouTube. Why should YouTube be held liable for something that somebody posts, you know, on a video uploading site? That really doesn't make much sense. But this law basically holds YouTube and other platforms liable. So whenever somebody posts something copyrighted, YouTube is also going to be held responsible, which makes no sense. And that's why YouTube is so much against this. But how this affects creators, and even though this is in Europe, don't think that just because this is in Europe, this is not going to affect you if you don't live in Europe. This is going to have an international effect. While it's centered in Europe, it will have an international effect. This type of system is unenforceable. You can't enforce this type of system without having some type of filter. Current copyright system, it is broken. The current system that we have right now, it's broken. And by making copyright laws even more stricter, it has the potential to completely destroy the internet. And it's basically government policing the internet. You know, I don't like talking about political matters because this is a gaming channel, but you know, this is a big social issue that most people can agree on, and I don't like the government getting involved in the internet. I believe personally the government has no right getting involved in the internet unless it's something illegal. But here with this law, it's basically government policing the internet. And this is going to be a giant disaster because the current system, how it works, broken like I said earlier. I've been a victim of false copyright claims. Other YouTubers have been victims of false copyright claims. This has happened to so many people. I've watched so many videos of this happening. And the worst offenders, the worst people who are making these false copyright claims are the large music companies. And guess who is one of the biggest supporters of Article 13? It's the large music companies. What they basically do is, let's say that you're doing a walkthrough of a game, right? You do a walkthrough of a game, you upload it to YouTube. If there's like a song in the game, not that somebody put the song in there, but it's part of the game, playing in the background, plays for a few seconds in a cutscene, for instance. Some random company will come in there and they'll say, "Oh, this is copyright. We're taking claim for this video." What happens at that point is that music company takes all the revenue from that video. Doesn't matter how much work the creator put in that, they take all the revenue from it. And there's something out there supposed to be called fair use. And I say it's supposed to be called fair use because these companies, they don't accept it. They don't recognize it. You know, YouTube always says, you know, we support fair use. It's not how these companies see it. Fair use basically is if somebody can use copyrighted material, if they post criticism on it, you know, they do a reaction on it, they use it for news purposes. That's how people post those video reactions, you know. That is fair use. The problem is these companies don't see it that way, and they literally abuse it so much. And when they make these false copyright claims, if you challenge the false copyright claim, that same music company that made that claim in the first place are the ones who review it, which makes no sense. That's how broken the system is. And 9 times out of 10, that company says, no, it is copyrighted material, we're taking credit for it, and they take credit for all of that YouTuber's hard work. And if you try to review it a second time at that point, and you know YouTube disagrees with you, your channel can get a strike. And if you get 3 strikes, your channel can get deleted. And that's why people don't fight these copyright claims. When these copyright claims happen, most YouTubers, they just go along with it. They say, you know, whatever. They just give up at that point because they don't want to fight it. And you know, you can't really blame them. They don't want to get in trouble. But the problem is, if for some reason YouTube does agree with you and sees that these companies are making a false copyright claim, there is no punishment for these music companies, which is outrageous. There needs to be some kind of punishment for these companies. Why are creators punished for fighting back against false copyright claims, but these music companies can make as many of these false claims as they want, but they're not punished for it? You know, what's the deal here? And there's two types of copyright reviews on YouTube. There's a manual review and there's an automatic review. And a manual review, it's a person. So somebody watches your video, somebody from that company, they hear that song playing or they see the material from their movie or whatever it is that they're claiming is copyrighted. They will make a copyright claim and it'll say it's a manual claim. The other one is an automatic claim. Automatic claim is basically by a bot. It's basically by a filter. The computer detects some type of copyrighted material. That's how most of these music companies, they use the automatic filters. It's happened to me. I was doing a walkthrough of GTA Vice City like 2 months ago, and in my walkthrough of Vice City, I wanted to show all the cutscenes because they're important parts of the story, and in one cutscene, there was a song that was playing in the background. You know, you couldn't really hear it that well as the characters' voices were much louder than the song, but the song was still there, and they copyrighted my whole walkthrough because of that song, which was just ridiculous. It was like a 20-minute video, and there was like a song playing in there maybe for like 10-15 seconds, and they took credit for my whole video because of that. And, you know, I was just so annoyed by that. You know, what I did was I deleted the video, and I re-uploaded the entire video, and I did my absolute best in my editing to take that song out. And I took that song out, and they weren't able to make that claim against me at that point. But, you know, it was kind of stupid because, you know, that song added some life to that cutscene. And whenever people watched that cutscene on Vice City, it had that song playing in the background. And it just didn't look as good. But, you know, I did that because I just didn't want these companies making false copyright claims against me. But it's even worse than that. It gets even worse than that. I remember a few years ago, like I said in my video a few weeks ago, I had a Payday 2 live stream. That live stream, like 6-7 hours long, it was a decently long live stream. And when I uploaded that live stream to YouTube, I got a copyright claim on it. And I was like, what? I was just so shocked that I got a copyright claim because Payday 2 doesn't have any music in it. It has its own in-game soundtrack, but it doesn't have any music. And there was some large music company that was claiming copyright on that video. I was just so shocked. I didn't understand. So what I did was I clicked on that part in the video where they were saying there was that copyright claim. And guess what? My friend joined a party and he played a song from his phone for like just 5 seconds. He played that song. It went through his mic to my mic, and it was broadcasted on the live stream, and you could barely hear the song. The quality was just so bad, but the automatic filter discovered that song. It detected that song, and I got a copyright claim for that. A 6-7 hour live stream, I got a copyright claim for 5 seconds of some song that just had such bad quality that my friend played in the party. That makes no sense, and these companies abuse it so much, and these are the same people that are supporting Article 13. And this goes back to my original point. You cannot enforce a system like this. It's unenforceable. These bureaucrats have no idea what kind of law they pass. They have no idea what they're doing. This law is not enforceable unless you have a system. Think about how many videos are uploaded to YouTube in a day. Think of all the videos on YouTube that are uploaded. Do you honestly think that somebody can just go and check every single video that works for YouTube? It's impossible. The only way to enforce that kind of system is going to be adding some kind of filter. There's no other way. They're going to have to add some kind of new filter. And that new filter is probably going to destroy everything. Because if the current filters that they have right now are this bad, like I gave you the examples just now, imagine how bad the new filters are going to be. And, you know, these same politicians that are supporting this law, you know, imagine if the copyright goes back towards them. Imagine if, you know, in their campaign ads, you know, their ads for re-election, they have copyrighted material, because, you know, in a lot of campaign ads, the politicians, they use music, they use other things that they record. Imagine if they get copyright claims on their ads, you know, that would be karma there. But still, it shouldn't even get to that point because this law shouldn't be here. It makes no sense, and this filter is going to destroy the internet. If there was some kind of punishment for these companies making false copyright claims, they wouldn't be supporting it as much. But they make these false copyright claims, and they rob so many creators. Basically what they do, they rob creators, they extort them. Basically what they do. YouTube has not done anything really about it, and its system is so broken that these same music companies are the ones that are constantly reviewing it. The majority of the comments that I saw talking about Article 13, people were against the law. People were really angry at the law. That's what 95% of the comments were like. I could barely find anybody that actually supported the law. And despite how outraged the general public was about this, despite how many protests went around in Europe, and a petition that had millions of signatures that was against this law, the European Union, they called people who were against the law an angry mob. They apologized for that later on, but, you know, you saw their early comments. And these bureaucrats, they have no idea what they've done. I guarantee you that a lot of the people that voted for this, they don't have any idea of the full effects on what this is going to do, and they probably voted up for it because other politicians have, which is just a terrible way of going about it. And, what basically happened here is the European Union, they sided with large corporations against the general public. Now think about what is going to happen. Don't just think about my channel, but think about all the channels that you like. How is this going to affect them? Imagine so many channels that you watch. Like, think of European channels specifically. Think of those. Imagine stuff just randomly getting deleted from those channels. Imagine like hundreds of videos just going away, getting copyrighted because of this new system. Videos that weren't copyrighted for years are now going to randomly get copyrighted. And this filter, it's probably going to have an international effect. Don't think that just because you're not in Europe that it's not going to affect you, because how are they going to enforce a system like this? Is YouTube in Europe now going to be different than YouTube in North America, for example? Is it going to have a completely different system? How is that going to work? What is going to happen here? And a lot of people are probably going to ask me, when does this law go into effect? When can we start seeing the changes? Well, this law, it's a directive, and a directive in the European Union, it's basically telling each country in the European Union to adopt some form of it. So each country has to adopt some form of the law, which is going to get even more complicated. How is this going to be enforced? The only way to really enforce this kind of system is with a filter, and it has the possibility to break the internet, because like I said earlier, if the current copyright system is this broken now, and they make rules much more strict, what is going to happen there? In the Article 13, I didn't see them talking. The people who support this law, I didn't really see them talking about punishing these companies for making false copyright claims. Don't really see it. These same politicians are saying, well, we don't want copyrighted material to go around, and we protect these companies' rights to protect their material. I get that, I get that people shouldn't be able to make money off of other people's work. Most people agree with that statement. I've had work stolen from me. It wasn't detected by YouTube, but a long time ago, I had this guy who was uploading my entire money guides on GTA, and he was taking credit for it. And he was claiming that it was his work. I just basically commented on his videos, telling him, take this down, or I'm going to file a complaint against you. And he took it down. Most people aren't against that. But the problem is there's so many companies that abuse it. And these same politicians that talk about how people use copyrighted material, why aren't they also talking about people that are falsely accused of using copyrighted material? Because that happens so much. Now, what is going to happen? What do I think is going to happen? There's a few different possibilities. Now, if you look at Wikipedia, for instance, Wikipedia, they shut down their servers in Europe not too long ago. I think it was just like for a day or two, and I don't think it was even completely shut down. I think it was just like they limited the service of Wikipedia in kind of like a protest against this. Now, what YouTube might do is they might choose not to enforce this. YouTube basically might come out and say that this is unenforceable. We're not going to enforce this. If the European Union decides to take some kind of measure against YouTube, they decide to make some kind of punishment for them, what YouTube might do, and this sounds kind of extreme, what they might do is they might shut down service for YouTube entirely in Europe. Not completely, not permanently. They might do it as kind of a protest. Imagine if YouTube shut down its service in Europe, just even for a day. Imagine how much problems that would cause in Europe. People would be so outraged. And, imagine if Facebook, for instance, they shut down their service in Europe for a day. Sounds drastic, but that's what these companies might do, because these companies don't want to go along with it, and they know exactly what it's going to do. It's going to cause a lot of problems. YouTube's terrible with its current copyright system, and with this new system, YouTube knows it can't be enforced without a filter, and a filter could break it. So let me know down below, what do you guys think? I think YouTube's probably going to choose not to enforce it, and if the European Union cracks down on it, they probably will, at least in my opinion, shut down or limit their service in Europe as kind of a protest. And at that point, if they shut down their service, I think that the politicians in Europe aren't going to really have a choice, and they're going to have to reverse this law when they realize just how many problems it causes. But let me know down below, what do you guys think? What do you guys think is going to happen? And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care, everyone.